Welcome back everyone. So in the last video we solved apply transformation over each element in an array, and in this video we are going to solve filter elements from array, which is sixth question in our 30 days of JavaScript. So let's dive in. Okay, so this is similar to the last question we solved where we have to apply the transformation over each element in an array, and in this question we are asked that we are given an integer array and a filtering function. We have to return the filtered array. The function takes one or two arguments, arr I, number from the array, and I index of arr at I. Now filtered array should only contains the elements from the array for which the expression which the function at arr I and index returns. And the value, if the value returned by that function is true, then we'll include that value in the filtered array, else we'll not include. Now we have to solve this question without using inbuilt filter method. Let's see the first example. So in the first example, the array contains 0, 10, 20 and 30, and the function is this one. So this function expects value of n, and if the n is greater than 10, then it will return true, else it will return false. So when this 0 is passed to this function, what it will do is it will return false. So 0 is not in the filtered array. 10 is not greater than 10, so it will not be included in the filtered array. 20 is greater than 10 and 30 is greater than 10. So these two values are included in the final result. Similarly, for example 2, 1, 2 and 3, and the function expect n and I. So two values. So you see in the first, this function expect n, only the one value. And in the second, the function expect n and I. So if the I is equal to 0, it will return true, else it will return false. So for this, it will return true because the index, that is I, the second value is index. If the index is 0, that is only for this value, it will return true, which means this will be included in the final result set. And for all the other values, since the index is not 0, they are not included in the final result set. In the example 3, the function is n plus 1. Now we have to check the 2, 3 value. Okay. So if we send any value to this function from this array, it will do plus 1. So doesn't matter what the value is. If for example minus 2 plus 1 is again a number, 0 plus 1 is also again a number. So number plus number is number, which is also a 2, 3 value. So all the values will be included in the final result set. Now that's the different case, that if the values inside the arrays are for example null or undefined, in that case adding 1 to those values will be undefined or null or not a number. In that case that will be false, so that value will not be included in the final result set. Okay, so what we have seen in this example is that the function can accept one value or two value. In case of one value, it will be a value from the array, and if it is two value, then the second value is an index. It is also given in the question. The function takes one or two argument. The first argument will always be the value from the array and the second is the index, and it will return either true or false, and it is given here. A 2, the value is value where boolean value returns true. So this value can be anything. It can be a number, null, undefined or whatever, and this is a constructor. So if the value returned by this boolean constructor is true, then we'll have to include that in the final result set, else we'll have to discard it. So now let's solve this question. Okay, so we are given an array and the function. So what we'll do is we'll iterate over each element in this array. So let's create a different array. So let's say filtered array. Okay, and we'll iterate over each element in the array, given array. So let's say constant element of arr. Now if function will pass the element, and we'll have to also pass the index, so we cannot use this for loop. We'll have to use the other for loop, that is let I0 and size is array dot length. I should be less than sz and I plus plus, and if the function returns true. For this, then we'll insert this value inside the filtered array. So we'll do push the value at index I, else will not do. And at the end, we'll return the filtered array. So let's see whether this solution can pass the test case or not. And our test case has been passed. Now we'll submit this. Okay, so our solution got accepted. So let me explain you once again. So what we did is, first we created a filtered array and then we traversed over each element in this array. Now we'll call this function for each value in the array and see whether this function returns true or false. If this function returns a truthy value, then we'll include that value in the filtered array, else will return false. And the other thing we can do is we can call the constructor. So we can do boolean, okay, and see if this works or not. Okay, see, again it worked. So what this boolean constructor will do is it will check the value passed in the constructor is truthy or falsy, and based on that, if the value is truthy, we'll include that value in the filtered array, else we'll reject that. Okay.